Yes, you're listening here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show, here on Sunday Night Vibes. Yep, listen to Sunday Night Vibes here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. Listen here live on Spreaker.com. Here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. Your host Brent, and I'm just giving you guys a little some music. Listen to Warm Nights by Lakey Inspired. Yep, if you haven't heard him, go look him up. He's got some good jams, makes you feel nice and warm and tingly. Listen to his music. Go sit next to your girl, yeah man, whatever. Have a night chilling, relaxing, especially on this Sunday Night Vibes on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. All right, welcome to the show. Sunday Night Vibes is a little different things as we always do on Sunday Night Vibes. Is kind of mellow out, kind of let everybody chill, relax, talk about anything and everything if you want to talk about it. More or less is me talking about anything and everything if I can come up with something. But going coast to coast, north to south, and even maybe in Antarctica. And if you're listening in Antarctica, give me a shout out. Let me know if you're listening. Let me know what you think. Here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show with your host, Brent. Make sure you can also follow us on our social media platforms. You can also follow me on my TikTok channel. It's Coolly Cool Show. You can also follow me on my Twitter, which is at CoollyCool2412. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel, which my podcast is automatically uploaded to my YouTube channel at the Coolly Cool Show. So, don't really have a theme for tonight, not specific topic, but more or less, I guess, well, it's Sunday, so Sunday Night Vibes kind to break in for the work week starting tomorrow, but the week is actually started because Sunday is actually the beginning of a new week, though people like to associate Sunday as a weekend when it's really not. It's actually the actual beginning of a week, but the work week typically starts on Monday. But that being said, I know, what was it, on Friday, I had talked a little bit about the topics were this is about kind of, space wars, U.S., and all types of other stuff going on, But I'm not going to talk about any space news today. I think we'll just leave that hanging and try to talk about something a little bit different. Actually, when I was earlier today, I was watching a couple of, the greatest gangsters during the Depression era in America. And one of the all-time American gangsters during the Depression era. You probably heard of him. He's notorious. He's one of the famous. He's one that got an agency up and pretty much running. Kind of was the forefront of the reason why they do what they do, and are so prolific and noted throughout the entire country and that more or less the world. But this American gangster, his name is John Dillinger. If you've seen the later documentaries about him, he's actually, for me, actually, individual person that he interested me so much because of the fact that if you look at his track history and everything about him, and then how he ended up doing the things he was doing, and then ultimately his demise and death, it's kind of in a way it's kind of like, was that error because of the Depression? Did it cause him to go that route? And then there were some other things that led to the reason why, that could have been a contributing factor as far as him actually turning to that way of life, into the the underworld of the bank robbers and stuff. I like I said, I'd watched a documentary. I mean, he's very interesting. It's an intriguing individual. Some today have kind of a still conspiracies whether or not that was actually him that actually was gunned down. It's always going to be a speculation talk in reference to that. No one's ever going to know, but I do have a theory on that, and I probably am going to talk about that in a little bit. Hopefully I don't get shadow banned, because lately I've been getting shadow banned a lot of lately. TikTok, I've been shadow banned. My YouTube channel, I used to have quite some views on certain videos, but then I think I've gotten shadow banned on YouTube. It's not fitting into their algorithm. So I guess and I had talked about that before in my last podcast, that sometimes the littlest guys, we put out certain content, and then you wonder why some of our content isn't ever put out like everyone else's, or like certain individuals. And a lot of people can find that being as like, well, I have the same content, I'm feeling good, I'm doing good things, videos, but then no one's watching them. No one's getting it. I'm not in part of that algorithm. And it's like the George Carlin says, it's a big club and you're not in it. And that could be so true as certain social media things where you think your content is good, but then it's not getting pushed out, because guess what? There's always somebody trying not to get that person going. And I've almost lost train of thought of what I was talking about, but yeah, I had an issue with that with the YouTube. I'm probably still gonna have continuous issues with that as well. I guess it's one of those factors, one of those things where you don't really know, but you do know that there is some deceptiveness traits going on. Because trust me, I watched a video where a person was just sawing something, or he was actually like cutting a balloon, and it was just nothing but ice, and it had like 100,000 likes and so many 100,000 views, and this person had like tens of thousands of people following them, and I never understood that. I'm like, it's just cutting a balloon. And I remember in the early stages of when YouTube was actually started come along, I remember, because if you were there at the beginning of the YouTube, their videos were only like 10 minutes. Like, that was like the early stage. I believe it was like 7 minutes, and then it turned to 10 minutes. But it was in the early stages of YouTube, the videos weren't long, as though you could have them long as you want, but they were very, very short. And I remember there was this one chick that she just stood in front of the camera, didn't do anything, just kind of blinked a couple times, and she had millions and millions and millions of views. And then you had people commented like, I don't know what she's doing, and it's like people were anticipating her doing something. And then she had like several of those videos that was over and over and over and over and over doing the exact same thing. And it's like, that person got that amount. That content is nothing but complete dumbness. But yet you regular person puts a lot of effort, a lot of energy, time, thought into making content, and then you don't get it. You don't get the views. You don't get to put it out there because more likely the powers may be, or their algorithm doesn't put you into a category to get yours bumped up past, like I said, some person just standing at the freaking camera for like 10 minutes or so, just looking at the camera, not doing that damn thing. And I pretty much got away from what I was talking about as far as American Gangsters, talking about John Dillinger. I don't know. My like I said, this is Sunday Night Vibes on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool show. Like I said, Sunday Night Vibes, it's actually, we're going to be talking about anything and everything. We can, we're not. Don't matter. But like I said, it's a mellow podcast where we just chill out and talk. But I think there is a conspiracy. Yeah, the whole thing I was relating around was conspiracy, from John Dillinger and him getting gunned down to YouTube and social media's algorithm with people putting out content they think should be good, and other people's content is complete bullshit, and you're not getting any content or getting any views or any push out there, but you know your stuff is good. So I think that's where I led into the conspiracy theory, because it has to be a conspiracy theory, because trust me, I've seen certain videos and certain things where people's stuff is completely trash, but then you have somebody who has a really good video that gets nothing. And it's just the same way as lines of, I would not say it was business where you have to market certain things, but it's just definitively, that's like, for instance, once again, I'm getting off topic, but like I said, this is Sunday Night Vibes. But like, that's like what some YouTubers, they'll always happen to tell you all the time that when they're on YouTube or something like that, and they'll be like, oh yeah, hey, I'm going to show you the secrets on how to do blah, blah, X and Y and Z. But first, before we get ready to hit this video started, I need you to go ahead and like and click that subscribe button at the bottom, and you get all these proper notifications on when I post and yada, 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 K, X, Y, and Z. You notice they always say that. But typically, what do they really talk about? They don't really talk about anything relative that you want to know in order to boost your channels or get further ahead. It's not really like that. And the one thing is, I'm not going to be like that. When I say you're listening, I say you're listening live to the Coolest of the Cool, the Cool show, which you're listening, my viewers listening. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening. So, but I'm not going to try to tell you, hey, make sure you like. I'll probably might say it once or twice, because I'm just trying to get my show out there to everyone. That's why I always say coast to coast, north to south, and even maybe in Antarctica. And I hope if people in Antarctica are actually listening to my podcast, I really, really would like to know what you think about my show, what's going on in Antarctica. You're doing a lot of scientific research. I know it's cold down there. But actually, I'd like to know. But it's one of those things, just like you have certain people that are already famous, already have tons of money, getting paid, that's in that algorithm, and then they're going to try to tell supposedly us average people, oh, I'm going to show you the secrets, blah, blah, this and that, and you're not telling anybody anything. And if you watch some of these videos where people talk about, they all have pretty much the common same thing. They're already filthy rich, or they already have networked so much to where the networking for them doesn't even have to do anything. They're connected with other people who have money. And then you have some YouTubers. I follow some certain YouTubers where they've came from a long way, where like 1 or 2 subscribers, a couple people listening and watching, and then somehow they, over time, developed a fan base. And that's not them giving up. That's actually them just continue to keep doing something they love to do. Like, for instance, I'm talking here and I don't know how many listeners I have, but for those that are listening, I appreciate each and every one of you for listening. Because on my show, I like to just make it as far as trying to be real and trying to be, up to times with news and see what things are going on and to try to dispel all the nonsense that you hear out in the media. Because trust me, the media does tell a lot of ghostly stories and they're just completely ridiculous half the goddamn time. But like I said, I'll get into that a little bit later on. I have totally lost focus on where my podcast was supposed to be going for the Sunday night. I wanted to come on here and talk a little about the John Dillinger, and I know some people probably are listening to, I don't really want to hear about that. But I'm just, like I said, this Sunday Night Vibes, I'm just going to take it from where it feels comfortable, how good I'm talking about something, and then string it out that way. But, yeah, back to the YouTube part and other social media platforms where you have tons of people who get tons and tons of followers, and you're kind of like at odds and like, what in the hell? And sometimes you have to wonder, like, what are people drinking? What's in the Kool-Aid? Or are they putting something in the hamburgers? Are they putting something in the fast food burgers? Are they doing something that just doesn't make much clinical sense? And you have to kind of understand, if you understand where I'm coming from, you could actually, we're relating, because it may have happened to you. And I can only just put it to, if you know what I'm talking about, it's always like the popular people, so to speak, are getting handed certain things, but then the other person who's the same and or better is not getting much of anything. So their work can come to be a problem, and many people have found that to be an issue, because they don't think they're getting a fair shake at a lot of things going on. And many people will, think otherwise. And you have the right to think otherwise, because your brain's only going to wrap around so much to be like, at a point to say, I think there's some type of, some type of thing that's going on to where I'm trying to do my best, I'm doing it honest or whatever, and I'm just not getting it. Or not getting it, but just not getting the opportunities of some people. And this has nothing to do with race, gender. There's nothing to do with that. This is pretty much controlled by certain individuals who are going to try to profit off another person, or they feel as though they can make money off another person. That's what I think. I think it's all dollar bill, y'all, secretly behind somebody, where they can benefit off that person. I remember there was a couple, actually this is like in the early 2000s, and I remember one of those late night infomercials, and I remember it was internet millions. And it was like, oh, I'm going to teach you how to make millions off the internet. And I was just kind of groggy sleeping, and I just watched it. I was like, what in the hell is this guy talking about? He's like, you can make millions off the internet. And I don't know, I can't remember how he was trying to say he was making millions, but it was going off certain ads. And then when it would happen, he was like at a pool party with, obviously you could tell these people weren't friends of his. They weren't real people. They was hired actors, because they were all in the background, all looking in the background of all the TV show kind of people, just standing there just like, acting like they're talking. And they're not really talking about jack shit. And he's talking, and these girls in bikinis, and then there's guys, obviously they've been working out in the gyms. And then this guy, he's got kind of like a Hawaiian shirt on, and he's got a pot belly. And you're like, okay, this is something not cooking stirring the pot or whatever. Just certain stuff that you kind of pick up and it's like, you want to say, okay, So, but he was talking about internet millions, and then, but long story short on that, and eventually, later on, it was a pyramid scheme that this guy was doing, because he was trying to get people to buy his bullshit that he was selling. And he got a couple people, to get in on it. That's like now these days where if you have a cell phone, you have a home phone, I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, majority of you have gotten a phone call that says, "Hey, I have contacted you about your car's extended warranty." That bullshit. Now, to be honest, for those of you that are listening, do you know when your warranty for your car is about to expire? Because majority of us don't even know. And that's the honest truth. Majority of y'all is like, I don't know. I think it's already didn't expire. Majority of people are not going to know when their car warranty is going to be, coming up or already expired. And if it does, you're just like, you know what? I'll chalk it up a loss. I might as well go get another car, keep this, old hoopty, and then try to do something with it. There's too many things with that. So there's just certain things that you kind of have to just look at how a lot of things are weird. That's why I said with my show, I usually try to point out the obvious nonsense. That's why a couple weeks ago I had been talking about asteroids, because I had actually watched the podcast about them asteroids, and then they were talking about, the asteroid's supposed to come, and then the asteroid's supposed to come in 2160 to 2170, and that's when they're supposed to be taken over, not taken over, but that's when the asteroid's supposed to be coming down and this and that time. But China and other countries say they're launching 50 to 60 rockets in November, and they got to do it now this year, because it's only going to be able to stop these or divert this asteroid off its course from hitting Earth in 2160, 2170. But we need to do it. But before we can send some of these rockets off, we're going to need some of your money. You know what I'm saying? It somehow always ramps around, we're going to need your money. And I clearly was making a serious joke about that, but I was being honest. I was like, this is the nonsense I'm talking about. And then, there were some other ones where I had talked about the space travel. Like over the summer, like I said, there's a huge thing about, we're going to space. And people are flying out into space, and we're going to do space travel and visiting space. And you had the billionaires going out into space, and they were like, oh yeah, billionaire going out into space. And people was, oh yeah, I can't believe they're going out into space. And then at the end of it, it's like, yeah, you could get a chance to go into outer space get a seat on there if you pay the ticket to go to space. Which they weren't really going to space. They were going to like the last layer with stratosphere or something like that. I'm not a big person. I can't remember what the whole spear part about it is. But you would get to go to the stratosphere or something like that. And the seat for one ticket, it was it was $250,000 just for one ticket. Doesn't include any meals included in the package. No parachute included, just in case you shit breaks down, you end up having to bail the hell out. Doesn't include any of that. So just a lot of craziness going on, and if you don't spot the crazy bullshit, then you will be bamboozled by all the nonsense. It's just there's a ton of bamboozlement trying to take over in this day and age, and the thing is, the bamboozle of boozling people is runs rampant which I don't think is ever going to go away. I mean, you have magicians now these days. When I was a kid, I was like, oh man, you see a magic trick, and you're like, wow, this is really magic, man. And you're just like, oh my God, I could do that too. And then you come to find out when you get older, but in the early stages, kids start picking up like, there's no such thing as magic. It's a sleight of hand. It's a trick. It's set up. Somebody's in on it. And kids will quickly be like, oh, you didn't do that. And they'll be trying to reach and grab your hand because they know it's bullshit. But then that's a little thing that kind of, when you're a kid, should try to jumpstart your mind that if they're doing this at you at a young age and they're only doing this as a trick, well, guess what they're going to try to do to you when you get older. But it's going to be on a grander scale. I mean, the bullshit is actually going to be much more of the bullshit, but you're going to have people that's going to actually go along with the bullshit. See what I'm saying? And they're going to have other people in on their bullshit to get you with their bullshit. See what I'm saying? So the bullshit's going to run rampant. All right. That's typically how a lot of things work out. I mean, it's all designed to get your money, to get something out of you. Look, we have let's see, last year during the pandemic of the COVID-19, which spread rampant. I mean, if a couple of years ago, face masks weren't even fucking prevalent. But man, they were top shelf. You go to even Walmart to get like one package with 2 face masks. That's going to run you about $3 to $4. What? Just for some string and some whatever type of cloth material? Just for 2 of them masks? That more likely I could probably only wear once, twice. And I'm probably now, since I don't want to spend that amount, I'm going to freaking have that thing working for me about a week, 2 weeks at the most. Because I don't want to spend that money to keep constantly buying face masks. And then if I have to buy another box of paper, it might run me up $10 or $15. And toilet paper. This is what I'm talking about as far as the nonsense runs rampant. And like I said, once again, I don't even know where my podcast that I had for this on Sunday Night Vibes went, because I'm starting to talk about anything. But last year, toilet paper was a hot commodity. And we're talking about paper roll to wipe your butt hole. So I don't even know why somebody's like, get toilet paper, do it. And what in, I don't know. I could have sworn that whole year was a social experiment, or it was linked to the whole thing where people was like, I'm going to Area 51 and we're going to find out those secrets and we're going to find them aliens out. Maybe they was like, okay, well, we're going to get the last laugh because 2020 is going to be a funny one to remember. And maybe that's what they did. They was like, okay, you want to play a joke on us and think it's funny to try to come up in here in Area 51? Guess what? What we're going to do? We're going to play a joke on you for 2020. And we're going to see how funny it is and see how dumb y'all looking while we taking away your toilet paper. And on top of that, y'all going to have to wear something on your face all the time until, the executive decision and orders decide to say, no, not anymore. Businesses are going to be like, look, you can't come in here without a mask. You have to stand 6 feet distance, but we're still going to go to ball games. And to this day right now, football games, baseball games, 6 feet does not exist. Okay. Now they give it a vaccine. I've been a person that says, get your vaccination shot. Get it so we can all get out of this thing. But people have a notion, they keep thinking, oh, they're trying to get rid of us. I've made a video podcast about that, on how crazy people be talking about nonsense about, oh, they're trying to euthanize us all, man. I'm like, really? Euthanize all your essential personnel? Doesn't make much sense. Doesn't hold weight on that. Like I said, you come and listen to my channel. I'm going to talk about some off the wall shit that maybe you're probably going to be like, that's no way, but I'm actually going to be giving you common sense talk. because some of the stuff don't make any sense. So we've actually, we come to the halfway point. Well, a little bit past the halfway point. But like I said, I've totally been lost what I wanted to talk about originally. But, we're just going to keep it rocking. And we're going to keep it going. So, but I'm going to go get something to drink. All right. Like I usually say at half, I'm going to go get something to drink. I want you guys to stay tuned. Stay listen here. And we'll be back with some more Sunday night vibes here live on the Coolest of the Cool. The Cooley Cool Show. So, I'm going to listen to some Raindrops by Freddie Janet. Here you go. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yes, we're back here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Cooley Cool Show. Your host, Brent. I went and got me something to drink, and it was good. Oh, yeah. It was good. So, I believe we were talking about talk about anything and everything here on this Sunday Night Vibe, not a particular subject to talk about, even though I did have one. Which was, I wanted to talk about the greatest American gangster during one of the Depression in America. And we talked about John Dillinger, because I was watching a documentary of him. And then I somehow went off at a tangent with the whole conspiracy theories. And I just went on with something else. And I just kept going on. I got on the part I was talking about as far as, people's videos and content being pushed out, then the mass media is all trying to shout out ban people and things like that, and then about people getting money. I'm telling you, here on my show, just a people show. I'm gonna put it to you real. I'm gonna put it to you real, because it's for every person out there that has, wanted to reach a certain level, certain thing. There's always some trickery behind all the what is supposed to be ideal in the reality world. It's just unfortunate a lot of things are like that. And frankly, when you get older, you typically, you do see this, but then you kind of like, no, man, it's not like that, man. It's not like that. And you're in denial. And then when you get a little more wiser, you start to figure things out and you start to be like, oh, okay. It's like that. Like, I was actually watching this video and I was actually reading a couple of these books where, the one person he's like, he's like, the reason why the poor and the middle class stay where they're at and stay poor and is they're always like that. And the one guy had said, he's like, the rich don't do that. The rich don't work for money. They have assets and they make the assets work for them, and they have people working for them, which is how they accumulate, I believe, their wealth, their money. Which I can understand what he was coming from. That I can kind of be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. They have tons of assets, which is accumulates to their wealth, is what they have to offer, you know. And he was saying, well, the poor and the middle class, they work for their money. They have to get an income. You know, that's why they're never going to be rich. And the first thing I wanted to say is, if you're going to go on the lines of saying that and trying to explain that, one, not everybody can help, or not everybody can help for the fact of where they come from, where they grew up, where they're born at. So to say that, that's kind of ignorant, because, and this has nothing to do with the race. So the person says, oh, it's about race, and there's nothing to do about race. This is, it's not even a culture issue. It's just a certain fact that, if I give you an example, if, let's say, let's say you, my listeners, you're listening, let's say you are an individual that wants to be aspired to be a professional wrestler. When I was younger, I usually wanted to be like a professional wrestler growing up, because I was like, man, I love those WWE guys are awesome. You know, you wanted to be a professional wrestler and you wanted to break into the business. And as you're trying to break into the business, you go to wrestling school to learn the trade, to learn the craft of wrestling. And you have this other person who, his family's connected to the business, and his family only knows the individuals to get them to that point, to be a superstar, to get in there. Now, it's a long shot for you to get there, but it's still a possibility. But it's definitely a very long shot to get. Though many people, unknowns, have gotten to that point, but it's a long shot, because guess what? You aren't connected. So who do you think's actually going to actually benefit in that? It's going to be the person that has the connections with the wrestling organization, the wrestling families, and things like that, because they're going to be more willing to say, oh, yeah. So if you apply that to the same sense of what this guy was talking about, he says, the wealth have assets. They don't work for money. So if you're a rich person, you got your money as, let's put it this way. If I was rich and had tons of money, millions and millions and millions and bajillions of money, right? So if I had an accumulated wealth of money, I'm going to pass it on to my kids, so that my kids can buy and purchase certain things, and then that way, the money for them, they don't have to worry about the money, trying to accumulate more money, because they already have assets that I know eventually they're going to end up purchasing or buying, and that's going to accumulate their more wealth, and it's just going to be a repeat cycle. As far as somebody who doesn't have the money to pass on to their kids, that they're going to have to find a source to get money in order to obtain money, in order to get that amount of money, in order to the point where they don't have to have money work for them. And far too many people are lured in the thought, it says, oh, if I work this way, because think about it. There's a lot of us that out there that work a regular, average, hardworking jobs, honest, good jobs, and people put money in towards a pension, towards a retirement. And what do they end up having to work to? They have to work about what? 20 years in order until they get a retirement. Am I not right? But what does usually typically happen when people get to their retirement? Then they get taxed on their money when they retire. So still their money, they're getting their money that they invested for these 20 years, but they still get taxed on it. So you kind of had to think that you're like, oh wow, I worked this many years, but I'm still getting taxed on it. But everybody wants to have it up front. That's where sometimes people are trying to shift it to have it up front, to be like, well, I want to have all this amount of money right up front in the bat. But like I said, not many of us are very fortunate where we can actually get it like that, and that transpires to a lot of things. So when I hear somebody says, oh, well, the rich don't work for money. Yeah, they don't, because you have the assets, but at the same time, not many people can accumulate the income to where they don't have to worry about money. Like, everybody's situation is different. It's just one of those subjects where, I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I could tell you right now, and this is the honest truth, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how much money you don't have. The one thing that you should be cared about is take care of yourself, family, and then make sure your health is okay. Not many of us are fortunate to have a certain health, but it's to enjoy the benefits that you do have. Because anytime you think something is difficultly hard, you have to look and say, what, somebody's probably dealing with something a lot more worse. That's what I'm dealing with. So you have to remember that, and then just be thankful and lucky that you have what you have. But I do tell you, when I'm back to my conspiracy theory on a lot of other shit, I'm telling you right now that this algorithm shit with the YouTube algorithm, especially with freaking TikTok, I'm telling you, the algorithm with that is completely busted, and they will shadow ban you and not even tell you are shadow banned. All right. I had a video where the beginning scene of where, a Full Metal Jacket, he's like, Reveille, 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 and he comes to the trash can banging it, right? And he comes in. Would you believe that I put that video up and says, this is how I feel when my kids go to school. And it's kind of like, all right, time to get up, get ready, going. And you would believe they shadow banned my freaking video. I had like 2 views. That was me. Yeah. Shadow banned. Didn't tell me. Didn't even say anything. Oh, if I let it go. They just completely shadow ban me. So don't think that the secrets organization or the man behind the curtain isn't pulling some strings to be like, look, I don't think he's doing. And the thing is, if I'm putting that out there and then you happen to shadow ban me, or I'm not getting listeners or nobody's watching my videos, then you have to believe, did I trigger something to where, oh shit, wait a minute, this person might be able to reach out to certain individuals, or he's made strike a chord where, holy crap, people are now going to find out. You have to kind of wonder that. You really do. So, I mean, that song is Under Your Spell by Desire, and that means we've come to the end of the show here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show, here on Sunday Night Vibes. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening to my show. Make sure you can follow us on our social media platform. It's funny, I was talking about all this. But yeah, make sure you follow us on our social media platform. You can follow me on Twitter on CoollyCool2412. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel, which is Automatic Video Podcast, or Automatic Ultimate Video channel of CoollyCool2412. Follow me on TikTok if I'm not banned. So it's Coolly Cool Show. And if you want to leave me a message or anything like that, send me a message, like and subscribe. I already mentioned that one, right? But I'd like to thank each one of you for joining me and listening to me on Sunday Night Vibes on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. Your host, Brent. Each and every one of you, take care. Bye.